Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now, if you're new to the channel, I make these videos to help my patrons, community members, whomever asks, really, in analyzing these coins so they can make an informed decision, hopefully give you some best practice and try to anticipate where the coin's going to be. This coin specifically is more so a coin that I have sent out a swing signal to my patrons for. So I want to make sure we get kind of on the same page with that, kind of get you an update, so to speak. My goal is to make sure we try to make these kind of update videos regarding the current swing trade positions to ensure we kind of stay afloat every month. We know exactly what's going on. So that is the purpose of this video here. So if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. And I always recommend you do your own research, of course. I'm sure you've heard that plenty of times before in the past, but it's important you do just so you can develop your own trading style. Don't take what you learned from me here today and use it as the primary method of moving forward in your trading habits. But I can tell you I have a very high success rate. I average about 80% success overall in my coins with my community, of course, and my investments. So I want to make sure that I help educate you in the process. So you get a chance, check out my Patron, link in the description below. My Patron account. I actually send out signals of all my trades that I take with my community, and we all learn and grow together. It's a really cool experience. So it's been awesome. We're closer to 50 members now in just under 3 months. So it's been a great experience. Thank you again to my patrons. You're all awesome. I love you very much. Now moving forward, let's go ahead and check out the charts, of course, but I do have all the social media stuff down below if you'd like to reference that as well. Feel free to obviously check out my Telegram community. I have a free group there that you can kind of reference and communicate openly and kind of get to know the group as well. So different ways of communication, but all in all, I can't wait to get to know you a bit better, and I do look forward to doing that if that is the case. Regardless, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Let's check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Hedera Hashgraph. And just before we do, we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first. So if you are new to the channel, I always like to preface with the fact that we look at those two things based on the simple fact that it's really important to know what Bitcoin is doing for obvious reasons, and Ethereum, a lot of coins are on the ERC20 blockchain. So just keep that in mind moving forward here. And just before we get started, I always like to preface too, I use TradingView.com desktop application. So link in the description below if you'd like to check out a free month version or a version of the what you see here that I share with you, because there's more than 2 indicators present at any given time. So if you've tried to use this, the free version, don't get me wrong, it's not terrible. It's awesome. It has all the benefits. Only thing is you can only have 2 indicators at one given time, so it's very difficult to kind of follow along. So if that's important to you, go ahead and check that out in your own time. But let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart here for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is interesting lately. Obviously, we've had some pretty major sell-offs here recently. Down about 18% in the last 24 hours, or sorry, the previous 36 hours. The last 12 has been pretty decent for the price recovering. I'm still feeling bearish in the short term, just based on the fact that the price is rejecting off of 44,000. There's a handful of other reasons, of course, with the news coming up tomorrow and Friday, so be aware of that too. But for right now, that's why we see a lot of recovery, so to speak, in the market, because Bitcoin has done very well today. So I think it's up 6 or 7%. Okay, so all in all, decent shape with Bitcoin. We got some major support levels here. We got a support here at about 40,000, and there's also a secondary support at 42,200. Now that doesn't line up here, of course, but on a different time frame, the 1-day chart more, so that's important. So just keep that in mind as well. But simply put, Bitcoin's in pretty good shape right now. We really have nothing to complain about, considering how what's done recently. We don't love the last 48 hours, of course, but the last few hours, so to speak, last 12 specifically, has been doing fairly well. We got to celebrate that, but I think it's a little premature to say that's breaking back out and coming back up. We got to wait and kind of see how this week treats us. I feel like 44,000 will be a pretty strong support throughout the weekend. It's just my guess, my prediction short term for Bitcoin. But I am still bullish on Bitcoin long term. October is going to be an awesome month. All right, moving on to Ethereum. Here's where we're at with Ethereum. Pretty much a very similar situation. It's almost like a carbon copy of Bitcoin. So not much to really look at here, except for the fact that we're back up above this major support level of 2,900. So we've got support at 2,900 again. Potential resistance with the 50 moving down, but I would say that Ethereum is essentially just doing what Bitcoin's doing. So pay attention to that for now. We're going to need to see more sideways action from Bitcoin, or a significant increase, to be able to see Ethereum kind of break away and do its own thing. But right now, just kind of hanging out and essentially doing what Bitcoin's doing. Looking at HBAR here, you could kind of say the same thing almost, but obviously it's much different because it had a significant increase here, even when Bitcoin wasn't doing super well. But of course, HBAR is not impervious. It has to retrace when Bitcoin does as well, just based on that fear, uncertainty, and doubt that a lot of people have when they pull their positions out. But good news here is the fact that we are testing the previous resistance level at about 37.5. So approximately 37.5 cents was a previous resistance. Current resistance as well, because it just blew right through it, didn't even provide a support. Good news is the 200-day simple moving average is working as a support, so the price didn't really go much lower than that. So, honestly, if the price were to retrace from Bitcoin moving forward, just say it comes down to 40,000 in the near future again, then HBAR should likely bounce off of that range there right around 32 cents. Okay, so we shouldn't see price go much lower than that, which is a good sign. Now, again, I like to cover these coins here because not only do my patrons ask that I cover them, but this is a coin that we have a swing position open within. So I like to make sure to cover these things here intermittently so you know that you're still in good hands. And big picture right now, so far with the kind of response that HBAR's been having, I think it's up 22% compared to 7% on Bitcoin. It's basically 3x for right now, which is really a good sign. It's going to recover very well. So I think it's going to continue to increase. Again, if we get some sideways action from Bitcoin, it's all we need for HBAR to kind of come back up past its previous resistance level of about 41 cents. Okay, so all in all, a good shape here for HBAR. I like it. Let's take a quick look at the one-day chart, kind of see what's going on here. We can see that this one-day chart has to break above this resistance in order to consider that to be a support level. Okay, so it could get stopped out there. Hard to say specifically. We've only got really about 1 hour left of trading in this this candlestick here. So this 23 hours in a 24-hour period. So we will find out soon what that'll look like. But in my speculation, that the price will kind of average out there just based on the fact that a lot of coins have ramped up significantly, and there's only so far it should go unless we want a retracement, right? We don't want the price to come back down. We want to stay where it's at. So let's just get it to close right there. Be nice. All right, so moving on to just say the simple moving averages, just to clarify, the 50 is working as a support level as well here on the one-day chart. That's a great sign. RSI is back up over 50, which is also a good sign. We do have a divergence here, of course, a bearish divergence, but that's nothing to worry about. That's pretty standard for this situation. I think we might see a convergence here in the next week or so on the one-day chart. Moving on to the RSI on the 4-hour chart, this is pretty standard as well considering how much of a sell-off we've had recently. We can see the RSI is creeping back up, just peaking up over 50. This is a good sign for bullish momentum. We also have a convergence, of course, on the MACD here that just occurred right around 5 a.m. today. So we'll just mark that and see if that correlates with the cloud at all. But simply put, pretty good things here for HBAR, and it's just kind of one of those things, you hold something down long enough, it's going to respond. HBAR did very well for itself before this happened, so it's no surprise why it's recovering and bouncing back quicker than most altcoins. That happens. This is just a really good fundamental sign. So when you see this kind of thing happening, I don't care if you got in at 32 cents or 37 cents, or if the price is at 40 cents by the time you get to this video, it'd still be worthwhile to consider investing because it has great potential to continue to increase. Okay. So again, this is one of those stronger, more fundamental coins, if you will, that will likely be doing very well by year end, based on the fact that Bitcoin is projected to, possibly be 6 figures by then, right? So we'll see, of course, but October, November, December are going to be very good months for Bitcoin, and I'm speculating that HBAR will do very well as well. Moving on to the 1-hour chart, let's go ahead and take a look here at the Ishimoku cloud. We are back above the cloud here, of course. Kind of, most coins are actually doing this based on the simple fact that it was such a steep decrease in price that, the inevitability of breaking through the cloud is pretty high. So it just basically kind of reaffirms the fact that a long position wouldn't be a terrible idea. Again, Bitcoin could very well sell off. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with the news, as well as Friday with the options expiring, the expiration date for Bitcoin. A lot of coins are doing worse, or sorry, the options, a lot of calls are essentially likely going to expire, and people are going to be out without any profit, and that likely will decrease the price. That's a pretty common occurrence. We'll find out soon here in about 24, 29 hours, somewhere in that range. We'll see, but for right now, we're kind of hovering around this point. And I think Bitcoin will stay between 44 and 43,000 until we get some update on the news tomorrow. But for right now, all good things for HBAR. Honestly, if I were you, again, like I mentioned before, it doesn't matter what price you get in. Even if the price comes back down to 30 cents, it's still a good value. You'll still see a return over time. This is more of those more of a long-term investment here with HBAR, but it's a good return on investment. So I think it's pretty safe to say this will continue to do well. Moving on though, let's go ahead and take a quick look at TD sequential and just identify if we are at a state of exhaustion yet. We pretty much are. And this is another thing I'd like to point out too, because based on Bitcoin's movement, right? Bitcoin is kind of just trending sideways for the last couple of hours. When it does that, and we see HBAR kind of creeping up to a 9, and by the way, the 9 basically just signifies that we could very well see the price come back down. And to clarify too, if you're new to the channel or TD sequential in general, this is probably the best way to look at it, because this gives you a great example. So if we see the 1 counting down to a 9, that basically just means it's bearish momentum, right? It's a bearish trend, and in that trend, in that 9 hours essentially, we see the price keeps getting lower. In other words, this candlestick is it's lower than the 4th previous candlestick. So the 9 is lower than the 5, 5 is lower than the 1, etc. So as you kind of go down, it counts up, but it stops at 9 because that's when exhaustion typically occurs. Okay, so that's obviously what had happened here. The bears had their fun. The price came down as low as it possibly could, and then it turns around, starts reset, comes back up. So look at this. It counts up to a 9, gets reset, goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then resets again. So this is a short period of consolidation followed by another bullish momentum. So in this bullish trend here, so to speak, we've got basically 2 bullish pumps. If you see back here, the price came back down. Here, hold on, let's get rid of this guy here. So you can see the price came back down right here. There's a likelihood we might see that again, based on the simple fact that we are at that point in which the bulls have been in control for the last 9 hours. There's a strong chance, especially the fact that we're testing this resistance level, the price will come back down further. So it might be a decent consideration to look at this, depending on obviously when you watch this video. If you're new and fresh to the video and it's kind of still staying where it's at, you maybe just wait to see if it goes any lower. Because it really depends on Bitcoin. I would just say be cautious and careful, have your stop loss in place. If you have a position here and if you're in the profit, that wouldn't hurt at all, because I personally feel that when Bitcoin retraces here in the near future, if it does, I actually have a short position open right now in my Patron community based on the simple fact that I feel like it's going to continue to retrace based on tomorrow's and Friday's events. HBAR is going to follow suit. Okay, so as we can see, HBAR is pretty much following the same pattern as Bitcoin. So just respect the fact that going into some pretty extreme news here, you need to kind of make sure your stop losses are in place and just kind of see where it's at. Heaven forbid you get stopped out, you can get back in. There's really no bad value or no bad price with this one here. And just keep in mind we're buying into a resistance level that's obviously holding, but also buying into a state of exhaustion and the fact that we have some crazy news on the horizon. I think it would be best to proceed with caution. That's all I'm saying, because we truly don't know what's going to happen, but history repeats itself. Usually when cases like this occur, we see the price initially increase like we see right now, and then it decreases, kind of like a fake out, so to speak, or a dead cat, I think they refer to it as. So just be careful. Just recommend you being cautious. But all in all, again, the same sentiment applies here. HBAR is a good quality coin. It's got some good fundamentals. We don't need to get into that here today, but do your own research. The likelihood of it continuing upwards eventually is quite high. So heaven forbid you get in right now and the price goes immediately down afterwards. Don't feel terrible about that. It will continue to come back up. There's a reason why it shot up this high before. 56 cents is a pretty significant number. That's 20 cents away from this current point right now, approximately. Again, the probability of coming up to that previous all-time high and breaking it is very high. Will this happen today or tomorrow? Probably not. I'm guessing October, November we'll see that. But for right now, HBAR is going to probably just continue to move forward and improve. Again, it really just depends on what Bitcoin does. I hate to say that because you pretty much have to preface that in every single analyzation, right? What is Bitcoin going to do? It's kind of the foundation. That's why we look at Bitcoin first to understand it. Okay. So again, everything I do here today leads me to to do well in my trading, okay? Because again, I look at everything and work my way down. So I recommend you do something very similar. It's extremely important to kind of be thorough. Don't just quickly look at a 15-minute chart and say, oh, price is over VWAP, we're good, we're going to jump on in. It doesn't work that way. Be as thorough as possible, do your research, and obviously make sure you develop your own trading style. But if you do like the way that I trade or the way that I analyze my charts, I trade the same exact way. I have approximately 8% success rate overall in the last few months with my Patron community. So link in the description below. Check that out, of course, in your own time. But I can tell you it's a pretty awesome experience. We all get to communicate, have some fun, and make some money along the way. So really cool stuff. But I do essentially just share all of my trades in my communities. So anyways, check that out. Feel free to message me if you have any questions. And let's look at the 15-minute chart here. So what we always look at on the 15-minute is the EMA and VWAP. So if you're new to the channel, I'll just quickly explain this. If you've been familiar with the channel, apologize for the repeat here. But VWAP is the volume weighted average price. That's this blue line here. What it does is every 24 hours it resets at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's why you see the price come down here. What it does, it takes the volume in the last 24 hours, expresses the price. So what it does, it basically creates a support level or resistance level. Okay, so we can kind of see it working as a support here. Do you see how the price bounced off of the VWAP line and it kind of when it lost EMA? So in other words, the red line is the EMA, that's the exponential moving average of 15. That kind of helps us understand we're in a bullish trend. You can see this here. When we lost that trend, so to speak, we lost EMA, the price came down and bounced off of VWAP here. Okay, so it kind of held it in price. In other words, held the price in play because it works as a support level, right? When it's above, it's support. Below, it's considered resistance. So simply put, when you look at the price here, you can see that this is extremely overbought. There's a strong standard deviation, a very high one. So look at this here. We're looking at about 10%. Anything over 10% is considered to be, I wouldn't say negative, but it just means that we can expect the price to come back down. It's that same theory of exhaustion that we saw on the TD sequential on the 1 hour chart. So we look at the 1 hour chart and we see, hey, TD sequentials tells us we've had 9 hours of bullish momentum. We come here to the VWAP and we see about a 10% variance. That standard deviation is too high. In other words, if we look at this here, let's see here. Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, this kind of tells us here. So if we look at the standard deviation, right, we're looking at about 10%. That's going to show that we have a complete separation between the two. In other words, when the price is too high, it has to come back down because it's been overextended. It's hard to explain. You kind of develop an eye for it after a while, but I can tell you that this being right at 10%, bouncing off the resistance, the likelihood of it continuing upwards, I think, is fairly low. Oftentimes, buying into a resistance is problematic. You want to wait for it to break above and stay above before you want to consider investing. So there's a reason why the price is getting kind of stunted out here right now. It's partially because it's too high. It has a large standard deviation, but it's also the fact that we're right there at a resistance level too. So two things are kind of working against it right now. Doesn't mean it's not going to continue upwards. I just don't think that it will bounce or continue to progress aggressively in the near future. Okay, especially with the stuff going on here. So I can't stress this enough. When you got some crazy world news going on, plus a Bitcoin option expiration date, with the market being more stagnant slash retracing overall, there's a great chance we're going to see some shift in price. Commonly it goes down. Obviously, Bitcoin has a mind of its own lately, so we could see it go up based on the fact that sometimes investors will hedge funds and pool money together so they can actually benefit from the expiration date versus the inverse. There's a lot of crazy scenarios I've seen over the years, but I just I'm not taking a strong long position right now. Strong long position sounds funny, because of the fact that we have that going on. So just treat the next 24 to 48 hours with respect, and then kind of go from there, see how the price responds. But respect this resistance level 2 at this point, because I think that'll play a big part here. So again, all in all, big picture, tons of growth opportunity. HBAR is definitely doing some things. It will absolutely continue to break its most recent all-time high. I have no doubt of that. In fact, it should have held support right here at about 41 cents, but it broke because we had that second day of sell-off, right? We had two 8% sell-off days in a row from Bitcoin. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt caused the price to push down, and we never got to see that work as a support. I think that we're going to break 41 cents here within about a month or less, maybe even sooner. I'm saying a month because I don't know how much of a reset we're going to get with the potential sell-off in the next 48 hours. So that's my only concern. But for right now, all in all, big picture, good stuff from HBAR. I think we'll probably see $1 before year end. That's my guess, just based on the fact that it's already hit over 50 cents previously, and the fact that we're likely to see a significant return on investment from Bitcoin from October to December. Okay, so just something to think about. But regardless, I hope you did find benefit here today. If you do, consider liking, subscribing. Message me on all the social media stuff down below. But more importantly, I'm more active on Telegram. Feel free to reach out to me there. And obviously, communicate with the crew. get everyone, get in there, talk to everyone, whatever you want to do. I'm done talking. That's all there is to it. It's been a long day. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.